Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Catching the Facts podcast here on the Catching the Facts official podcast network. I'm your host, Dan Sisk.
And I'm Schroeder.
And guys, it was championship game week. We got, obviously the four power conferences to talk about each of the championship games. Some were blowouts, some were nail biters. It was definitely a fun week. No big NFL games really happened. We thought about doing the Bears and Packers because that was a marginally interesting game, but Caleb Williams did not play very well. And overall the game was just not quite as good as maybe the score suggested. So we decided not to really talk about the NFL because there weren't any interesting games to talk about, to put it bluntly. So we're going to talk about really just the four championship games from the power conferences. So we have Texas Tech and BYU, we have Georgia and Alabama, we have Indiana and Ohio State, and we have Duke and Virginia. And then once we talk about all that, we will give our thoughts on the official bracket that the College Football Playoff Committee revealed on Sunday afternoon. But first, we got a news roundup for you. So Eric, you ready to get started on the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, guys. So the first story, and I heard this yesterday when it was reported that they were going to work him out, and I thought it was honestly a joke. I thought it was a shit post. Um, in the Colts game, let's give some context here. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. He is out for the year. A lot of people, including myself, consider him and Tyler Warren to be the two reasons why the Colts are relevant again. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's had an MVP caliber year. We're not going to forget that, but he's been a solid player for years. I mean, I know he's had a couple down years recently, but he's had great success in the past. So him having a great season isn't out of the blue. Tyler Warren and Daniel Jones came out of the blue, and now Daniel Jones is out for the year. So the Colts are kind of desperate. They're doing what they can to save a really good season that they're having. And their big brain idea, Eric, is to bring back 44-year-old Philip Rivers, who retired 4 years ago and is a year away from being eligible to be elected to the Hall of Fame. Bring him back. He has been officially signed to their practice squad. And he's got a legitimate chance at making the team. He was coaching high school football 3 weeks ago. And he is going to be a 44-year-old. They're trying to capture the Flacco magic. And I can't even laugh at it because it's such a bad idea. Right? I mean, this is like absolutely asinine from top to bottom that anyone thinks that this is going to work out. Look, in his heyday, Philip Rivers was a brilliant quarterback. No ifs, ands, or buts. He was unable to get over the hump. We recognize that. But all that considered, stats-wise, he's an excellent QB in his heyday. But he's 44 years old, guys. I mean, the fact that this is the idea that they have, just shows you how out of options they are. I mean, Anthony Richardson is recovering from that orbital fracture that he got in practice a few weeks ago, so they can't play him. This Colts team is about to have a very rude awakening ahead of them, Eric. And it's going to get really ugly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just true, man. This is definitely an interesting signing. I mean, I was shocked when I heard it.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's 44. He hasn't played since COVID. The Colts, I mean, they've been struggling at QB ever since he retired.
Yep.
They've been through 8 quarterbacks, and the man who they decided to bring back, he became a grandfather.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have an actual grandpa playing a quarterback. I mean, it's unreal, man. This is something else. The man who can run a whole offense just by his family, his 10 children.
That's crazy.
He can play a quarterback and his kids. I mean, it's unreal. This guy is unreal. But I mean, he's a good quarterback, and he was, like you said, he was solid. 2004, pick number 4 to the Giants. He was drafted in 2004. I mean, it's like, that is so long ago. I wasn't even alive. And so it's like, and now he's back, man. And I don't think it's the answer.
No.
But what else are you going to do, man?
Exactly.
I mean, there's definitely some other possible, like, if you told me that Philip Rivers was playing in the 2025 football season, I wouldn't believe you. You know,
Yeah,
if you told me that last week, I wouldn't believe you.
yeah,
Um, but this pretty much sums up the NFL right now, man. It's definitely interesting.
yeah. They were put in a box because of the Richardson injury.
Right.
And it was
Yeah.
never really. I never saw a lot of clarification on how he got hurt because it was in practice. Did he get hit in the eye? Did he like miss the ball? I don't know what happened to
Yeah. I
Richardson.
don't know.
But I think also I don't. I mean, is there any way Richardson can play like partially injured? I mean, the fact that they're going with Philip Rivers over a slightly
Well,
injured Anthony.
they put him on IR, and even Riley
Yes,
Leonard is questionable. The rookie out of Notre Dame, he's
sure.
questionable. So I
Yeah,
mean, it's with a grade 1 PCL strain on his right knee, and then I mean they have Brett Ripon. I mean, but he's not good. I mean, he's in
no,
his seventh season now, and he's only played like, I mean, he hasn't played that much even in his career.
yeah,
So he's always been a backup. So I think Philip Rivers right now is better than all of these quarterbacks. Um, that can play, of course. I mean, Daniel Jones, it's terrible what happened to him. It sucks, man. He was
yeah.
upset because he was having such a great year and kind of a
He was.
comeback year for him after he leaves New York, and it's what he needed, man. I mean, I was I was sold on him. I mean, this year that is, and it sucks to see him go down like that. And then Anthony Richardson, he's just not developing
No.
into the young star they thought he would be. He was good at Florida. I understand that, but it's not translating to the NFL very well. And I mean, I'm rooting for him. I liked Anthony Richardson in college a lot, but I mean, right now, man, this is probably the best thing they can do, and it's not a very good. I mean, it's not that good. This is a desperate move.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Anthony Richardson couldn't read a pre-snap defense,
Right.
and he still can't. So
No, exactly.
I think again, like you said, I completely agree. He's in a box. Rather the culture in a box. I mean, they're doing what they can. Um, we'll see how it works out, man. I have low expectations though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would love to see him light it up. I would love to be talking about him next week, but
It'd be an
I don't
incredible
know.
story. It would be a
Oh yeah.
remarkable story, but I just
100%,
don't see
man.
it happening. Just because of his body, I don't think his body can withstand.
No, he's gonna take one hit. I mean, I'm surprised he's even in shape. He's been out the league for
Yeah,
what 4 or 5 years now.
yeah.
So
He's a high school football coach. Yeah,
yeah. So props to him, but
yeah.
it's a good story for sure.
Respect Philip, but I mean, I don't see it working out. We'll see if he
Yeah.
even makes the roster. He's on the practice squad.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, they won't play him this week because there's no way they can turn him around that quickly.
No.
But I mean, again, maybe next week. I'd be
Yeah.
amazed. I'd be amazed, but we'll see. We'll see. They're also in a box because we're past the trade deadline. They couldn't trade for anyone. Normally you trade for like a Jameis Winston type, right? But you can't do that here. And yeah, they're doing what they can. Sucks for Daniel Jones. And we'll see if boy are they gonna they're gonna just gonna be if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm working out extra hard because they're gonna be giving the ball to him. I'm not even exaggerating, probably 40 plus times. They're gonna be running him like nobody's business. So we'll see what happens. That's all
Yeah.
I have on that story. What about you?
Yeah. That's all I got.
That's a crazy one. Okay, guys. Penn State football hired a coach. The most disastrous coaching search in recent memory, Eric. Can we agree? I mean, that
Oh,
I I,
dude. Yeah.
I feel like when I was reading the reactions to this hire, like ESPN did an article, they gave the coaching hire for Penn State an A, and they gave the process an F. They're like, you guys couldn't have. They're like, the process couldn't have been any worse, guys, but you did get the right guy. Did they get the right guy? I have mixed thoughts. So they got Iowa State's Matt Campbell, who's been there for a million years. Won a couple coach of the years in the Big 12. Highly respected coach. He really, really is. I mean, guys, he was able to get recruits to go to Iowa State. Do you realize how difficult that is? I had a friend who worked in Iowa for 8 months for an internship, and I heard stories about the middle of Iowa. You don't want to live in the middle of Iowa, and he got football recruits to move to the middle of Iowa, so he's clearly going to be a very good recruiter. But overall, Eric, I kind of just feel like this is James Franklin all over again for a couple reasons. For one, They have very similar backgrounds. Um, James Franklin entered a Vanderbilt program that was a disaster. They were the laughingstock of the SEC, and he turned that program into a perennial 9-3 contender, which was very, very impressive at the time. So Penn State hired him to get out of the Bill O'Brien era, and he did a very good job for a while there. It obviously didn't work out in the end, but overall, I think the Franklin tenure was a success. He won far more games than he lost. You know, I don't think Franklin's name will be left in effigy in State College. It's just not. He's just not going to be a legend there. Um, Same with Matt Campbell, man. He entered Iowa State. Iowa State was probably the biggest laughingstock in all of college football, besides Indiana. And he turned Iowa State into a perennial 8-4 and 9-3 team. Occasionally had the 10-2 season. So he's done a lot with a little at that university, and obviously the resources that he has at Penn State are going to be far greater than he had at Iowa State. Right now, the contract is looking like 8 years, about $70 million, I believe. Based on the year, he'll earn anywhere from 8 to like 10 or $11 million, depending on incentives for reaching the playoff and whatnot. So they're paying him, but they're not overpaying him like Lane Kiffin. So it's a very financially, it's a fiscally responsible contract. So props to the university for pulling that off. Again, I think that's what helped ESPN give the deal an A, because they didn't overspend. So we'll see how it works out. I like the hire. I'm not in love with it because, again, I do see shades of James Franklin, and we know how that ended. But I do think that Matt Campbell's got a good eye for talent. He's obviously going to get a lot more talent to go to him now that he's in Central PA rather than Central Iowa. And I think that there's definitely a potential for him to find great success. I think this upcoming season is a great opportunity for him to get the lay of the land at the university. If you guys look at Penn State's schedule next year is a joke. It's like Notre Dame bad, which is saying a lot, because Notre Dame makes their own shitty schedule. But they have Michigan on the road, which is they're gonna lose. It's the big house. But their toughest home game is USC, and USC is good, but they're far from great, far from their heyday, right, under Lincoln Riley. So I think the potential for Penn State to only have 3 or 4 losses next year is actually very high, and I think that's incredible. So I think it's a very good. Matt Campbell's very lucky to have the schedule that he has, because it's going to be a very easy transition for him into this position. And I think it's going to take him a year to get the lay of the land. He's obviously not going to get a lot of recruits to go to Penn State this year because he missed the first National Signing Day. Franklin poached all the recruits for Virginia, to go to Virginia Tech. So they're not going to have a ton of talent on that team, but they'll have enough to, be 8-4. And I think in 2 years' time, if all goes right, Campbell will be able to really make a splash. I even saw an article today, Eric, that right now they're on track to get a 4-star QB for the class of 2027. So again, I think Campbell's looking 2 years down the line, which I think is smart. Next year is just it. You're gonna have to work with what you got. It just is what it is. So, I'm seeing good signs so far. We'll see how it works out. Another important detail, they kept Terry Smith. I really thought Terry Smith would leave for another head coaching job. There were reports that Memphis was extremely interested. Matt Campbell put it into his contract that Terry Smith had to remain a member of his staff. Because I think he realized that team, at least the veterans on that team, would have taken a bullet for Terry Smith, and he knew that Terry needed to be in the building for the team to have unity. So I think Matt Campbell, again, playing the long game, which is smart, as he should, is helping to unify that locker room around him. So I'm seeing a lot of good signs. Again, I'm not in love with it because I do see shades of Franklin, but I am happy with the move as a Penn State fan myself, as a Penn State loyalist. If I'm Ohio State, I'm not that worried. Matt Campbell is a good coach, but I still think Ohio State is really the big dog in the Big Ten. Their only true competition is Oregon, and I think that will remain the case. Is Matt Campbell better than Sharon Moore? I think we both can agree that he is. But I think, again, if we're being totally honest, right now the big dogs in the conference are Ohio State and Oregon. So if I'm Ohio State, I'm not sweating too much about this move. It's not like let's put it this way: if I'm an ACC school and I see James Franklin getting hired at Virginia Tech, I'm sweating bullets because I know James Franklin will find success in that conference. I'm not sweating bullets over Matt Campbell. I'm keeping an eye on him, but I'm not. I don't think it's the death knell for the rest of the teams in the conference. I think Matt Campbell, again, is a good fit in the Big Ten. So I like it. I'm not in love with it, but I am happy. A disastrous process. Pat Kraft is lucky that he kept his head through all this. The crumble cookie disaster will go down as that's going to go down as one of the iconic stories for Penn State football, in my opinion. I will always remember how someone bought crumble cookies and delivered them to the athletic building the night that Kalani Sitake turned down the job. That's going to go down that's a forever story, in my opinion. Yeah, it's an interesting hire. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Eric, as a fan of Ohio State. I can't imagine you're freaking out because, again, this is a good hire, but it's not like a slam dunk. And again, I think really it's Ohio State and Oregon at the top.
Yeah. I mean, like Ohio State or Penn State, they missed out on a lot of good coaches. They were just letting them go by, and I think they were almost scared of overpaying because of how much Franklin's buyout was.
Yeah, and they did get out of that buyout. They only had to pay
Right.
Franklin $9 million. But again,
Exactly.
I think the fact that headline of $50 million hit the press, I think that
Yeah.
scared them. Yeah,
It's scared. Yeah, no, it definitely did. But I mean, as far as this hire goes, this is a good hire. I like it. Started out at Toledo, who I mean they always suck, but he turned that program around. I mean, he had them ranked in year one. So
impressive.
yeah, it is. And then he goes to Iowa State. They were terrible. They were 3-9 in 2016 when he joined. Flips them to 8-5 the year prior. So and he went on a streak of having them ranked for 5-6 years.
Yeah, they were
So
respectable for a long time. Yeah,
yeah. So and then I mean he just put them on the map again just last year in the playoffs.
yeah,
So with Scatterboo. So it's like he knows what he's doing. For sure. You can't doubt that. I think Penn State's a better spot for him. I agree. Just because of the prestige, I guess, around Penn State. They've been good, yes, down year this year. That's partly because of execution. Bad play calls on the coaching side, but um,
yeah.
like you said, I mean, give him 1 to 2 years, like I said, give him 1 to 2 years, and he's gonna be right back at the top. Um, it's gonna be really hard for Penn State to be all the way at the top, like you said. I think they're, when they're good, they're with Indiana now, they're probably the fourth best team in the conference.
Yeah, with Indiana,
Um,
you're right. You're right. I didn't list Indiana at the top because I mean it's a 2-year.
right,
Yeah,
exactly, and
I
anything
don't
can
I
happen.
don't I'm close to calling Indiana one of the big dogs of the conference, but I just can't call
I
them a
think
big
it's
dog
just
right
too
now with 2
early.
years. I agree. It's 2 years, man. I can't call them a big dog yet.
It's great what Kurt Cignetti's doing, and I think he's gonna turn that. He's gonna make them great and elite. Because they've been on the map. But um, this is a good spot for Matt Campbell to be. Get him some more media attention. I understand he's at Iowa State. He was doing his thing, but I mean they were in the Big 12, so
Yeah.
it's not gonna. You can't really make too much noise, even though they're a respectable program, of course. But he got them there, and that's what you want to see. So I like the hire.
What'd you say?
He got them to a respectable program, so I like the
Oh yeah.
hire.
Yeah. I think it's again a solid hire. Again, I'm happy. I think right now with how horribly this process has been handled from the start, they clearly fired Franklin on a whim. They were not prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And it became very obvious as the weeks went on. Um, I mean, it was a horrible look for Michigan State to fire Jonathan Smith and then the next day have Pat Fitzgerald ready to be hired. I mean, that just shows you how ill prepared Penn State was. Like Michigan State can do what you can't. Come on. Um,
Yeah,
but
it
yeah. So I
it
think I think they're on. It's a good hire. But I think this year again is a transition year, and let's see the kind of recruits he can get. If he can get a 4-star QB, I mean that's a big deal. So
right, yeah, and with James Franklin firing, it almost felt like Penn State was acting like a fan. Like calling for James Franklin's head
you're right.
mid-season. Oh, fire him. Oh, but we don't have a plan. We're just gonna fire him just to make the fans happy. We're gonna suck this year. I mean, I understand the guys are playing their hearts out for Terry Smith, but Terry Smith, he, I respect him a lot, but it's hard for him to. I mean, it's hard to jump into that role as an interim head coach. I mean, look at Sharon Moore. I guess, he's not even that respected. I mean, he's not that good.
No, he's not.
So, but he's just doing enough to scrape by.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they kept him this long. To be honest, he's not doing anything. But
yeah.
yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this hire honestly helps Penn State. I mean, look, their bowl game is absolutely useless. They're playing in the Pinstripe Bowl on December 27th against Clemson. But Terry Smith will obviously be coaching that game. And I think the team, now that they know Terry's sticking around, and I'm sure he's getting a pay. I'm sure he was able to negotiate a raise. He's probably getting paid 1-2 million a year to be a glorified assistant. I mean, that's an incredible yeah, that's an incredible gig for him. I think that'll really help the team get around him, and I think it's going to get them into the bowl game charged. I know it's an exhibition, and I shouldn't really be thinking too much about that game, but Terry Smith will be thinking about that game, and I think the team will be supportive of him. Um, Now that they know he's sticking around. So that's another factor that should be mentioned, even though I don't think it's a major one. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm not ecstatic, but I'm very, very pleased. And we'll see how he recruits. That's really what it comes down to, man. College football's a
Yeah,
business now. So we was able to get a lot of guys to go to Iowa. I would expect him to get far more than that now that he's at Penn State.
yeah, and just speaking about that bowl game, man, that is. Oh my God, those teams were both those Clemson and Penn State so hyped going into the year, and just so
Yeah,
that's the disappointment bowl.
it
I
really
mean,
is. Right. Yeah.
that is the worst bowl game ever.
Yeah. Is it worse than Pitt versus East Carolina in the Military Bowl, though?
Yes, because Pitt didn't have any
Wow.
expectations.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, Clemson and Penn State, they were looking at playoff teams,
You're right.
and now they're playing in the Pinstripe Bowl in New York.
Yeah,
So it's like
that's fair.
there's no
That's fair.
expectations with Pitt just because they're going to scrape by and get you, 7, 8 wins, but they're not going to be ranked, number 2 going into the year.
Yeah, that's fair. I respect that. I can totally see where it's coming from, and I don't really have a way to argue with you. I think you got a good point. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, guys. I'm if there's any big news, I mean, I doubt it. We're not going to announce. We're not going to stick any big recruits for Penn State or Ohio State in the news roundup. But I mean, if there's anything seismic, I guess we'll report. But um, maybe we'll talk about the bowl game. Maybe not. It depends on how slow that week is, quite frankly. But yeah, I'm pleased with the hire, and we'll see how he does in the Big Ten. I thought Jonathan Smith would transition to the Big Ten well. He did not. But to be fair, he was coming from the Pac-12, which is a much different animal than the Big 12. The Big 12 was very, very competitive when Texas and Oklahoma were there, right? So, um, we'll see how Campbell does, but I'm happy on this day. So,
Yeah.
okay, that's all I got as well. Okay, guys, moving on to the games. We're gonna go in the order that they aired, just because it's easier that way. So we're gonna start off with the Big 12 championship game. This was number 11 BYU versus number 4 Texas Tech. Eric, what was going on there?
Yeah, so BYU gets slaughtered, 7-34. I mean, it was a really bad, really bad game for such a hype team coming into the game. With BYU, that is. You win, you're in, but they got slaughtered, man.
Yeah.
Bear Bachmeyer couldn't have played worse. 16 for 27, 115 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Um, not I don't know. Would you say this was almost an expected outcome though?
I mean, we were talking about how it's really hard to beat the same team twice in one season. And honestly, it's even harder to blow the same team out twice in one season. What Texas Tech did is actually remarkable. Because statistically, it's very unlikely. Um, that Texas Tech defense, Eric, it is so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It is whoever they play is going to have a real hard time against that defense. That defense is stellar. Absolutely stellar. The most points they've given up in a game was 26. Think about that. 26 points are the most points they've given up all season long. And most games they're under 20. I mean, just a remarkable defense. And because of that, Bear Morton doesn't really have a lot to do, right? I mean, he just kind of has to not make mistakes, and he doesn't make mistakes. So because of that, Texas Tech is able to fly to the win. I would say, to answer your question, was it an expected outcome? I mean, BYU did have to deal with a lot of noise with Taki and Penn State. Maybe that was a factor. I would hope it wasn't. He stayed.
Right. Yeah,
Um, I,
I don't know if that's really an excuse you can use
I agree.
because he
I don't.
stayed and
Yeah,
I mean, he probably knew what he was doing, man.
yeah,
You know, I mean, the guys probably knew before the press did, of course, so.
yeah. They took a video of them during practice of him telling them that he was staying, and they love the man. So I agree. I
Mhm.
don't. I suspect that they're going to try to make that an excuse. It's not a good excuse. Um, I just think that again, Texas Tech's defense is so good that even though Texas Tech's offense isn't the best, all you have to do is not make mistakes. And I mean, that's they don't make mistakes. When Baron Morton's healthy, obviously that was an issue earlier in the season, but when he's healthy, he's not even a top 10 quarterback in the sport, dude. But he is very reliable and he doesn't make mistakes. And I mean, that's kind of, I guess, what you expect, what you can expect from a guy. Um, I was very impressed with that defense. Very impressed. That defense was absolutely dominant. It was unstoppable. You couldn't get anything through that defense. Just stellar play across the board. 137 passing yards and 63 rushing yards. I mean, you can't make that up. I mean, it's just remarkable. So I know BYU had the two turnovers, as well as the two fumbles in addition to the two interceptions. So they did have a lot there, but I don't really,
But
I don't
that's the defense making good plays. I mean,
exactly. I mean, that's the defense stepping up. I agree. So uh, BYU had a very easy agenda, win and you're in, as you said, and they blew it. And, time to move on, right? I
right,
mean,
yeah.
that BYU team is respectable, but they just aren't, playoff caliber. The one truly elite team that they play, Texas Tech, they play them twice and they get slaughtered both times. It tells you all you need to know. Um, Yeah, man. I really feel that Texas Tech defense, every single element of that defense is excellent. Whoever they play is going to have trouble. I think they're going to, if they make it to the semifinal and they have to, you know, play one of the big boys, right? I think it's going to be, really difficult. Right now, I mean, they're on the same side of the bracket as Indiana. Um, they could give Indiana real trouble. I mean, that defense is that good. So good for Texas Tech, man. This has been an incredible season for them. I think this game really solidified how good they are. Are they good enough to win? I don't think so. but that defense is really going to give trouble to whoever has to play them. And honestly, this is going to be a hot take. I love defensive battles. I love, low scoring games where you just see god tier defense. And Texas Tech delivered a really enjoyable game for me. I mean, it was a joy to watch them work. Um, and yeah, man, if your offense doesn't make mistakes, they don't have to make the flashy plays. It really is that simple, right? Just don't make mistakes, and that's what won.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
mean, I can, put anybody it's a clean game, for Bear Morton there, so
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and it's nothing flashy. I mean, he only put up 215 yards, but
no, yeah,
I
it
mean,
wasn't flashy. You're right.
it's I mean, he didn't have to do anything else, man. His defense carried. Not saying that he didn't carry them at all, but gave him opportunities and he executed. That's all you can do. It all comes down to execution at the end of the day. So,
Yep, yep, 100% agree. Okay, that's all I have on that game. What about you?
yep, that's all I got.
Okay, guys, moving on to the SEC championship game. We had number 3 Georgia playing number 9 Alabama. Eric, what was going on there?
Yeah, another blowout. That's what happened. Georgia kills Alabama 28-7. I mean, this was a really bad loss, man,
Yeah,
for Alabama. They couldn't do anything. You
yeah,
know, they went they went 3 for 14 on third down. I mean, that's you can't win a game like that. Ty Simpson did not look good
he
at
was
all. I
awful.
mean, he was terrible. I mean, I understand he had 212 yards, but he threw the ball 39 times,
Yeah.
and he only has 212 yards. That's a horrible game. Georgia or Alabama's defense really couldn't do anything. You know, Georgia scored 7 in every quarter. It was just a complete domination and really physical. I mean, it just comes down to who's the more physical team, and normally it's Alabama. Not this year, man. Georgia is the best team in the SEC.
Yeah, man. This was complete physical annihilation from top to bottom. You could not have played a better game if you tried, if you're Georgia. You honestly could not have played a better game. I mean, that was the best game of their season, bar none, no questions asked. I mean, it was absolute. Let's be fair. They were helped out substantially. Ty Simpson was missing wide open checkdowns multiple times. Multiple times he missed wide open checkdowns. Um, and it was just complete domination. You couldn't have played better. I mean, Gunnar Stockton. Again, I've said a lot about him, but the stat line is really, really good. 20 for 26, 156 passing yards, 3 TDs, and no picks. Again,
Yeah, clean game.
yeah, clean game. He's not going to make the flashy plays. I wouldn't go so far as to call him a candy arm. Saying he has a candy arm, but it's a weak arm. But again, he doesn't make mistakes, and he's a good leader. I mean, again, it's exactly like Bear Morton. If you don't screw up and you just lead, then you let the defense ride. And that's exactly what he did. Georgia's rushing attack was pretty good. They weren't amazing in this game, but they did get a couple big runs when they needed to. Namely from Nate Frazier, who had a injury scare early on. He was able to come back with no issue at all. I think Zachariah Branch is too freaking fast for every Alabama defender. They could barely tackle him. Um, and yeah, man, I think it is shocking how ill prepared DeBoer was for this, game scheme. They that was a hard fought victory. Over 4 quarters. Alabama needed 4 quarters to beat Georgia, and they were dead after the first quarter. They really were. I mean, what I was seeing from Alabama's offense, I knew early on that it wasn't going to be good for them. And it was just really, really bad on their part. Um, I don't know, man. We'll talk about Alabama in the bracket after we talk about the games. I have a lot of thoughts on that. But yeah, this Alabama team is a significant step down from previous regimes, previous iterations of this team. Um, And yeah, man, I think that loss to Florida State was very bad, and they were able to use that as motivation to improve their season. But I think it was very evident that this team had flaws, and Georgia was not ready for those flaws in their first game. But they clearly watched a lot more tape this time around because they found the flaws, got in Simpson's head. They blitzed him like I think I saw a stat line that was like they blitzed him 10 times more than they did in the regular season game. And when they had Simpson under pressure, he was screwing up constantly, as you saw by his stat line of 19 for 39. He couldn't throw off his back foot. They realized that and they just blitzed the hell out of him, and he could do nothing. This guy's a dark horse Heisman contender, man. We were praising him, were we not? And this is what you do, Ty? Come on, man. Um, yeah, man. I just honestly, my entire reaction, and I was texting you during this game. It was just annihilation. I mean, there really is no other way to put it. If you watched that game, Alabama was dead at half. Like they were corpses being wheeled into the locker room when everyone was running in for the half. I mean, it was bad. So we'll talk about Alabama more at the end, but this was a statement for Georgia. They are the best team in the SEC. I agree. I think this definitely puts them above A&M. Yeah, man, this was an impressive victory.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, if you've been watching Ty Simpson, I mean, even if you watched him last week, yeah, I understand it. We didn't talk about it, but I understand they beat Auburn. That's a close rivalry game. It's going to be close, of course. It always is.
Yes.
Um, he didn't play. I mean, he didn't play that good even that game. I
No.
understand he didn't throw a pick, but I mean, he only had like 122 yards. That's not good.
Yeah.
This is his worst completion percentage all year, and arguably the biggest game of the year. And then the second would be being Florida State, the week one, which they lost.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he's just making too many mistakes. And I mean, we both have said this earlier when we talk about Alabama, but Ryan Williams, he's really dropped off, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not even top 5 in the nation right now at all.
No,
I mean,
he had a couple catches in this game that were like he had 2 catches in the span of like 4 minutes. And you could tell that the announcers were trying to like
and that's all he
gaslight
got.
the you could tell like the announcers were like trying to gaslight the audience into thinking that Williams was going to go off, and those were
Yeah,
his
dude.
only 2 catches.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
man.
I love you, Chris, and I love you, Kirk, but you guys just aren't going to convince me that Ryan Williams, as you said, Eric, is top 5, and he was. But this is a
Yeah.
drop off. I don't know if it's an issue of him personally or just lack of chemistry between him and Simpson. I would guess it's honestly a mixture of the two. Um, but yeah, man, he's had a rough season, and he was non-existent in that first half. I mean, that first half, you wouldn't think he was on the field. It was hard to believe it was the same guy.
Yeah, he's been non-existent, I mean, this entire year. You know, he's only had 1 game over 100 yards, and it was against Wisconsin. Every ranked opponent, you know, last time they played Georgia, he only had 43 yards, no touchdowns. He has 4 touchdowns on the year. I mean, he comes in, you know, lights it up. He's probably number 2 freshman in the class behind Jeremiah Smith at wide receiver. And then he comes in year 2, all this hype around him, and he just stinks. He stinks. I mean,
Ah,
he is he I agree. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's also lack of chemistry. Um, you know, we know he can perform with the pressure on him because he did it all last year. You know, with the hype around him. I don't know what happened in the offseason, but he is not the same.
yeah, yeah. Chemistry with him and Simpson, man. I
Yeah.
honestly, that's the only thing I can think of. I don't know what else it could be.
No, yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, man. Just I guess again, summary, just statement victory for Georgia, complete annihilation from top to bottom. Alabama is going to be reeling from this. It's going to be hard to bounce back, to be honest with you, especially with how rough their last month has been, right? The last
Right.
month has not been great, so it's gonna be especially difficult to bounce back. So we'll see what happens. Okay, that's all I have for that game. What about you?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. Do you want to do this?
Let's do it.
I'll let I'll let you go. Guys, I watched a man's sanity deplete over the course of 3 hours. And it was really really a shame. It was honestly really sad to see, man. I wish nothing but the best for you. And to see you go have to watch this shit. Um I'm not like making fun of you. I know it sounds like I am. I swear to God, I'm not making fun of you at all. I honestly feel for you so much. This is rough. So just do it. Number 2 Indiana versus number 1 Ohio State.
Yeah, so number 2 Indiana beats Ohio State 13-10. Um, Look, I mean, I'm not gonna be biased here. Great game from Indiana, man. They played so
Yeah,
good. Um,
it was.
all this hype around Ohio State all year. Come in, beat Texas week 1, and they've been ranked number 1 since. A lot of noise coming from Indiana. Of course, they're climbing up fast. Kurt Cinetti, love what he's doing over there with that program, making Indiana good, putting them on the map, and and it's just awesome to see, man. Now, I did not expect this at all. Oh
No,
my goodness,
we
this
were
was
expecting the polar opposite. We were
yeah. Oh,
expecting as polar opposite as you could get.
yeah, Ohio State opened up as 3-point favorites. And we were saying, I mean, you have to take that bet. They're going to win by 14, come out
Yeah.
and stink. I mean, it's not good. Now, I understand it's not a good loss. No loss is ever good. You don't want to have a loss on the record ever. Um, Now, it's not the worst thing that's happened to them. Um, just look at last year, same exact score.
Yeah.
Michigan,
Point.
they
Good
lose
point.
13-10 at home, even worse, and then they go out win a national championship. Um, does now does this change your view on Ohio State a little bit of how they're playing? I mean, they got you know they come in as a very physical team. We've been saying the most complete team in the nation, and they
Yes.
just get out. They just get like out physical almost. I mean, it was unreal. So what do you think?
No. I do
It
not.
it it
I'm not.
doesn't change?
No, it doesn't, and I'll tell you why. I feel when you lose a game because of a shanked 27-yard field goal, you are not. It's not like you got. You can work with that, right? You
Right,
can
and
bounce back from that.
oh my dude,
It was just like honestly, it's just like the when he missed the field goal, my dad was watching next to me and he was like, "Is this the same kid who missed against Michigan?" And I didn't remember, which is why I asked you, and you confirmed that it is. I mean the fact that Ohio State has all the money in the world and they can't get a goddamn kicker is amazing to me because the kicker cost them against Georgia a couple years ago in the semifinal. It's just crazy. But I not at all. I didn't change my view on Ohio State last year when they lost to Michigan. I didn't. If you go back and listen to our old episodes on WSVC radio, you will know that I didn't. I was all in on Ohio State then. I'm still in on Ohio State now. I think this Ohio State team is unquestionably the best team in the country. I know. I mean, when Indiana is very lucky, they were lucky beating Penn State. Okay, they got the catch to end all to like to beat all catches. That catch to beat Penn State is going to go down as one of the best of the decade, which I know is a big statement, but I honestly feel it's true. And then they got lucky here with a shanked 27-yard field goal. I mean, Indiana has been very lucky at crucial times this season. And Ohio State really hasn't needed luck. I mean, I know you were complaining about the first half against Penn State, and I understood where you were coming from, but that team was
but they I
never
mean
that team bounced back in the second half and
right,
just
exactly.
absolutely
Yeah, you can't even
slaughtered Penn State in the second
exactly.
and against Michigan. I mean, again, a couple rough drives, and then they turned it around. Like, and I know Penn State and Michigan aren't great this year, but still, Ohio State hasn't needed luck to win, and Indiana has. I think even Indiana fans would admit that. So I really don't change my opinion, man. I will say this: that Indiana defense, holy shit. That Indiana defense is so much better than I think any of us really assumed. We thought they were very good, but I know their biggest win prior to this was Oregon, but how many times have we been complaining about Dante Moore the last month? I mean, the Oregon offense isn't exactly an offense that I'm trembling in my boots to play against, even even in Eugene. So I mean, I I don't think either of us were really prepared for how good that Indiana defense is. Um, and I think Ohio State just, again, it was a hard fought loss. Neither team neither team collapsed. Neither team was a disaster. Both teams fought hard, and it came down to a shanked field goal. I mean, it's football. It happens, right? So, I mean, it's tough, but I really don't think that this is the end of the road for Ohio State. I still think they will win the national championship. Um, I will say this, though. I think this game's solidified, and disagree if you want, but I don't know how you have an argument. I think this game solidified that neither Mendoza or Sayin deserved the Heisman. Both of them were missing a lot of big throws, like a lot more than either team is gonna, either team's fan base is gonna want to admit. I mean, neither one was very impressive. They're both were announced as Heisman finalists. Um, and Mendoza's going to win just because of the story of Indiana, but it should be Jeremiah Love. It's ridiculous that it won't be. Why is Pavia nominated, by the way? Can you explain that to me? Pavia,
No.
Pavia
Oh,
is a,
that kid. Oh my gosh, bro.
he's, why is he, whatever. That's a whole
Yeah,
other conversation.
I can't stand him.
I can't either. But I mean, I was
Yeah,
incredibly
no.
with Indiana. I was
And
incredibly impressed with that defense. I was incredibly impressed with their physicality. I was incredibly impressed with their heart and soul. I mean, they poured their guts out onto that field, and for a man who looks so miserable all the time, did you notice when Signetti was walking to the middle of the field to shake Ryan
oh,
Day?
no emotion.
I mean, he looked like his dog had just been killed. I mean, and he had just become the number one team in the country. And I mean, he for a guy who, again, on the surface just does not look like he gives a, a single has a single care in the world for his team. They they pour their blood, sweat, and tears onto the field for him. It's impressive what he's done at Indiana over the course of 2 years. 2 years, Eric. This program was literally, statistically, the worst team in the history of Division I FBS football, and they are no longer the worst team. They no longer have that honor, because of him. I mean, he has done a remarkable job at Indiana, and it's a truly it's truly a wonder to behold. Because again, I don't think anyone was really expecting um this team to do as well as they are. But no, I'm not down on Ohio State. I'm still gonna pick them to win the national championship. And yeah, man, I just shanked field goals happen. You just can't let that become the norm. And it's football. It happens. Ohio State did not play horribly. I think that's really what the takeaway should be. They didn't collapse. It wasn't their game to lose. Indiana won. They didn't
Yeah.
they didn't. I'm sorry. They didn't.
No, yeah, I agree. I I I understand all the blame is gonna be going on, um, Jaden Fielding, but we gotta put some of the blame on Ryan Day here. I understand. I I have changed my views, you know, on Ryan Day over the past couple years. He's changed me. I went from not really liking him to really hating him after he lost to Michigan and then loving him.
Yeah.
So it's a love hate relationship with Ryan Day over here. But
Some of his play calls were baffling though in this game.
Yeah, man, they really were. Even to set up that field goal, why are we rolling out with Julian there, and why are we throwing the ball on 3rd and 1 on the whatever 7-yard line? I mean, there's no need for that.
Yeah.
Run the ball, give it to Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson had a great game, 17 carries for 83 yards. He's, one of the best freshman running backs in the nation. Why are we not giving him the ball there? I
Yeah.
understand, um, you know, I understand that Indiana's defensive line played it, exceptional. They had
Yeah.
5 sacks on Julian Sand, but
Incredible game.
yeah, run the ball, man. I mean, what are we doing? That is
Yeah.
so bad. They were inside the 5. Um, Ohio State was, you know, at least twice, and they didn't cash in the end zone. I mean, that can't happen. Especially in a game like this. I understand the game really doesn't matter too much. I mean, you're only flipping, you're getting the bye either way in the playoffs, but you still want to win. Um, and and losing to Indiana, I understand they're good this year. Ohio State, I mean, they haven't lost to Indiana in like 33 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's bad, but and that's not even discrediting Indiana. I mean, they played such a good game. Charlie Becker played outstanding, 6 receptions, 126 yards. He was a real field flipper there. Fernando Mendoza, he played solid. And I don't know if it was just me because I was mad at the outcome of the game. I wasn't like too mad, but I was like a little upset. Um, but they were hyping him up, man. Like they're like, "Oh, he just had his Heisman moment when he clinched the game on that one throw." Like, dude, this is and I'm saying this as an Ohio State fan. This is the worst Heisman race I've literally ever seen. Take me back to last year when we got Genty, Travis Hunter duking it out. I
Yeah.
mean, this is terrible. None of these
I agree.
quarterbacks. I understand Julian Sand has the highest completion percentage ever. That's impressive, yes, and I'm not discrediting him, but he hasn't looked like the best quarterback ever. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, what do we? I mean, Ohio State makes um, just average quarterbacks look really good. I mean, look at Will Howard.
Yeah.
He was
Yep.
a national champion. Will Howard,
Yep.
from Kansas State. So it's like, and I don't know. I mean, I think Julian Sand is better than Will Howard, but it's not miles better. So I don't know. Um, but all props to Indiana. Chris Signetti, great coach. I'm really excited to see what they'll do in the playoffs. Because I mean, I think they can make a deep run, and it could be these two facing off again on the national championship. So
Yeah. Yeah. Again, my takeaway was not that Ohio State lost this game, that Indiana won it.
right,
Both teams. Again, we've just been. I agree with you 100% on the Heisman race. I think this Heisman race sucks. But that being said, neither quarterback was great, but both teams were great. Both teams were exceptional. They really, really were. And I just, I really, this was a situation where Indiana won the game and Ohio State didn't lose. And
right.
because of that, I don't think, like, Ohio State lost to Michigan. They lost that game. They handed that game to Michigan on a silver platter. That is not what happened here. So I don't think that, you know, I don't think it's as bad of a situation as the Michigan loss last year. And as I was texting you, I really feel like just like Ryan Day used the Michigan loss to motivate, the team to play well in the playoff, I think he'll be able to use this game to motivate the team for the playoff as well. So I'm not worried about that. I think
Yeah,
I really feel they'll be fine. I really feel they'll be fine.
yeah. It's just a bump in the road, I think. Yes, it hinders belief a little bit. It kind of has to. I mean, the offense looked terrible, but it's not even that the offense. I guess that's not the correct thing to say. The offense didn't look terrible. I mean, Julian Sand went 21 for 29, 258 yards, and he had a touchdown and a pick, which wasn't great. But I mean, Fernando Mendoza, he didn't play any better. He literally played worse. He went 15 for 23, 222 yards, one touchdown and a pick. I mean, so and like we said last week, um, it's not. Heisman. No, I think there's going to be a lot of bias right now towards Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
You know, in the Heisman race, that is. But I mean, Julian Saint played a better game. But I mean, it doesn't matter. The Heisman's Saturday, so who cares? Um, but Fernando Mendoza, he did not really impress me at all. He hasn't impressed me all year. So he's just an average quarterback scraping by on a really good offense. Um, and it's hard to say scraping by because they're 13-0. But if you look at they've had a lot of close games with a lot of not so great opponents. I mean, Penn State, Iowa, and I understand Oregon's good, but it's a close game. Um, so we'll see. I think they could make some noise in the playoffs for sure because, if Kurt Signetti shows any emotion, it'll be when they win the national championship. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree with you.
but yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. That's all I got. What about you?
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay, guys, last game. A game that was much better than it had any right to be. The ACC championship game, Duke versus number 17 Virginia. Eric, what was going on there?
Yeah, so Duke beats Virginia 27-20. Right when this game, hit the headlines, everyone was saying, "Oh, ACC is not getting in." Duke just ended the season for the ACC, and we were saying it last week because we'll get to it, but we thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But Duke played a great game here. Not a great game, I guess I should say, but they played good. I mean, they were the more physical team, and Darian Mensah, he didn't play great. He went 9 feet 19 for 25, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. That's not that good, but it's good enough. I mean,
Yeah.
in overtime, you're looking to see a little bit more yards. I mean, under 200, and he had some extra football to play. That's not that good. But Chandler Morris, he didn't play good either. I mean, he had 2 interceptions, 216 yards, and almost 50% pass completion. That's not good. So really, it seemed like neither of these quarterbacks or even neither of these teams really wanted to win this game. Um, but interesting win for sure. I'm happy for Duke, I guess. I mean, I don't really care about the ACC too much, but
No.
they're playing in the Sun Bowl, so who really cares about Duke right now? They're a basketball school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really it.
I'm happy for Manny Diaz as a Penn State fan. I was rooting for him. He was a very good defensive coordinator here for the year that he was here before he got the Duke head coaching gig. He won an ACC title before Miami, and Miami fired him as their head coach, which I just find that hilarious that his ACC team won an conference title before the team that fired him won a conference title. Yeah, man, this game, the first half was not good. I was expecting the game to be as bad as both of us were expecting. We were both expecting this game to be unwatchable. Um, but the second half was actually really entertaining. Second half plus overtime, and it was 20-10 Duke. And Eric, I swear to God, I'm no one's gonna believe this, but I swear on my life this is what happened. The ACC refs realized, oh my God, we need Virginia back in this game because if Virginia loses, then the odds of the ACC getting a team into the top 12 are really, really low. And so they made a couple horrendous calls against Duke on Virginia's final touchdown drive. Like there was a pass interference call that was absolutely awful. And then there was a call where on the catch for the touchdown, the receiver ran out of bounds and then caught it as a touchdown. So he should not, it shouldn't be a legal catch, right? Except the defender brushed his arm while defending him, didn't push him out, brushed his arm. And the refs declared that was the defender pushing him out of bounds, and therefore the receiver was eligible to go back into the the playing field and make the catch for the touchdown. I mean, there were just so many horrible calls against Duke that I am convinced the ACC called up the refs and said, "Hey guys, if Virginia wins, Virginia's in the playoff, and we need a team in the top 12. And they just did anything and everything that they could to hamper Duke into choking this game. When it went to overtime, I was convinced that Duke would lose because they had just blown a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I thought it was over. And then what do you know? Duke has a very good opening drive, and then Chandler Morse throws a pick to end the game. But yeah, I was just really worked up about this game because the refs were clearly manipulating the result. And I hate that, man. I mean, what ACC, how about you put out some better teams, right?
Yeah.
Like
No,
seriously,
honestly, man.
I don't want to hear a word about how we had to manipulate the ACC title game just to get a single team into the playoff. I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
come
I
on.
mean,
It's just embarrassing. It's just so bad. Ugh,
yeah,
ridiculous.
the fact that the 2 teams in the ACC championship, one is an 8-5 team,
Yeah.
being Duke that is, and then one is a 10-3 team ranked, 19th in the country, playing in the what's it called? The
I,
some random bowl game.
yeah.
The Gator Bowl. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
That's the top teams in the ACC.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what a joke.
It's
And
embarrassing.
when we're about to talk about the bracket, and there is an ACC team in, but I mean, it's like, and I feel like they just put them there just because they wanted an ACC team in.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. We'll
But
talk about that.
but yeah, man. I mean, this game is so bad. But I don't know anybody who watched this game, to be honest. And
Neither do I. I think you and I were the only ones who even paid a relative amount of
yeah,
attention.
there was 2 viewers in this game, and it was me and Danny. So,
Yeah, you're right.
and one Duke fan that forgot basketball season started. So,
And James Madison fans.
right, yeah,
James Madison.
exactly,
Did
yeah,
you see the James Madison fans in the stands? Those
I
guys were the
did.
best. Those guys were the best. I
Yeah,
didn't
that
see
was.
them after Duke won. They didn't cut the camera to them. What the
I
hell?
know, I know.
What
What's
the
up with that,
hell?
man? Yeah, that's messed up. But no, I
Last
mean,
thing. Oh, please continue. Go.
No, I mean, yeah, just a good win for Duke, I guess. I mean, that's a big win.
Yeah.
I mean, a really down year for Duke. I mean, they're never good, but this is I mean, 5 losses. That's not good. But they got here somehow and they won, so they beat off an okay Virginia team who's had some decent wins this year, but that's really it for me.
The last thing that I thought was really funny when they were interviewing Manny Diaz and they were asking him, hey, it's looking like James Madison's going to get in, but to the committee, what do you say? And he was making his plea for Duke to get into the playoff. As he was talking and trying to explain himself, ESPN put the graphic up on the screen that James Madison had a 99.9% chance of making the playoff and Duke had a 0.1% chance. As he was like campaigning for Duke to make the game, I just thought that was really amusing. The way I forget the exact line that he said, but he said a really, really funny line right as the graphic went on screen, and I just burst out laughing. I'm ashamed to say that I don't remember what it was, but I mean that was just hilarious. But yeah, I'm happy for Duke. How crazy is it that Indiana and Duke won the Big Ten and ACC in football in the same
I
year?
know, man.
Isn't that nuts? Um,
Duke and Virginia,
yeah,
in the ACC championship, 2 basketball schools.
yeah. So I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, good for Duke. I'm happy for Manny. And yeah, man, it's just again, the fourth quarter was actually very entertaining. It really was, but it's not like the game was even close to the excitement that the SEC and Big Ten games had. So yeah, it is what it is. The game was not as bad as we expected it to be, and at the same time, as bad as we expected it to be. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's all I have on that
It
game.
was so bad it was good.
Yeah. So
It
bad. Rude.
It's like Mac football. Mac
Yeah.
football is some of the most entertaining stuff you'll see, man. Tuesday night, playing in front of a raccoon, and they're just slinging it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's where the ACC is right now. We're comparing them to the Mac. So
Yeah. We're just saying a lot.
yeah.
Okay, that's all I have on that game. What about you?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, guys. So as a result of these 4 games, as well as the 2 group of 6 games, I mean, congrats on Tulane and James Madison for
Yeah,
winning their conference.
big wins.
Um, so we have our bracket. So guys, our bracket from 1 to 12, we have Indiana 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4. Those are your 4 buys. We have Oregon at 5, Ole Miss at 6, Texas A&M at 7, Oklahoma at 8, Alabama at 9, Miami at 10. That's a big, big placement. We'll talk about it. Tulane at 11 and James Madison. James Madison at 12. So I guess, Eric, we'll start from the top and we'll work our way down. Your thoughts on keeping Georgia at 3 and only moving Ohio State down 1 spot, despite Alabama getting absolutely annihilated by Georgia. Did Georgia deserve number 2? Or did Ohio State deserve to only fall 1 because they lost on a shanked 27-yard field goal?
Um, I think they did. Um, Now you could definitely argue putting Georgia at 2. But Ohio State, I mean, they played, it was 1 and 2 in that matchup, and only losing by 3 on, like you said, a shanked field goal. I don't think that's that bad. I understand Georgia killed Alabama. We talked about it. Um, is Alabama as strong as Indiana? No. So that's why I think they did that. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's my. I
Okay.
mean, and I don't mind it. Either way, I mean, 2 or 3, Ohio State has good matchups. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's I agree with you. I mean, I thought about it a lot. My knee-jerk reaction was what? But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? It was a 3-point loss, man. Like I Ohio State's so good that I think it's justified. So when you think about it, it makes sense to me. I didn't mind that at all. And then yeah, Texas Tech getting the bye. What a year for them, man. I mean that's just a
Yeah, great,
remarkable
great stuff.
remarkable stuff. Um, uh, 5 through 8 stayed the same. Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. Those were their positions going in. I think those are very appropriate given what we've seen, given the weaknesses of each team. I think those are appropriate rankings. I don't think you would disagree with that, right?
No.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Okay. The two big discussion, the 2 big teams that are being questioned right now. Um, First off, Tulane and James Madison, because Duke won, guys. So because Duke won, as we explained last week, that gave an opening for 2 group of 6 conference winners to make the college football playoffs. So both Tulane and James Madison were able to get in, and that left a 3-way race between Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame for those last 2 spots. They decide to put in Alabama and Miami. Eric, we're going to start with our Alabama discussion, keeping them at 9 despite getting killed by 3 touchdowns, and you don't move them down even a single spot. Do you agree with that?
Um, See, oh man, but you can make the argument that Notre Dame and Miami aren't as good as Alabama, so you can't really put them
Yeah.
anywhere else.
And Alabama had the best victory of the year, in my opinion, at Georgia. That's the best. That's
Yeah.
the best regular season victory of the year, dude. Full stop. It really is. So, uh, honestly, I know. Well, I couldn't care less about Fighting Irish fans. I'm sure that they're upset when I say this. But no, I honestly think it's fine that Alabama didn't drop. I mean,
Yeah, me too. I agree.
that team is, they have not looked great the last month, and I think their odds against Oklahoma are shaky. We'll talk about it, but I think that again they're better than Miami, so I think it's fair. I agree with you. So number 10 went to Miami. Eric, Notre Dame had been above Miami the entire season, despite Miami winning in week 1 against Notre Dame. Notre Dame had been ranked above Miami for the entirety of the season. And then they finally, at the last minute, hop over Notre Dame to get into the playoff, despite neither team playing this past weekend. This has been a big controversy in the sport the last few days. I'm fine with it. I mean, I, I think that I don't think the result is what's making people angry. I think it's the process. I think the fact that Notre Dame had been over Miami for so long, and now Miami finally jumps over. I think that's what's making people shake their heads in disgust. But I think the final result was appropriate. Now, I don't know if I totally buy the explanation that the committee chair gave. He argued that because BYU got blown out and fell out, that BYU, fell out of the top 12, that moved Miami up to being right next to Notre Dame, and so they were able to directly compare those two teams, and put them one over the other. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's totally fair to compare Notre Dame and Miami, even if they aren't 9 and 10. I think it's fair to compare Notre Dame and Miami when one's number one and one's number 11. I don't agree with that logic at all, but I think that was just their explanation for why they waited so long to put Miami over Notre Dame. We discussed this team, dude. Carson Beck's a basket case. Um, they're so inconsistent. But Cristobal is not an awful coach. And he did win. They had the exact same strength of schedule. They beat Pitt by an equal amount, but they won the direct matchup, the head-to-head matchup, and that's what got them over. I think it's the right call.
Yeah, I agree. I Notre Dame has a lot of bias surrounding them from
Yeah.
not the committee but fans. Just because of what they, what they were. I mean, they made the national championship last year, so they're a prestigious program. They're always good, but dude, they they weren't that good this year. I mean, can we just
Yeah.
say that? Like
Yeah,
they
they are.
so overrated, man.
Yeah, their schedule is atrocious.
Playing a conference,
Their refusal to play in a conference has resulted in their schedule being paper thin.
yeah,
Um,
and they're
and,
scheduling these opponents.
yeah, and I have no sympathy for Notre Dame. I have no sympathy for their fans. I have no
No,
sympathy
not at all.
for anyone who's upset. I don't think you have an argument. I just think join a conference. I completely agree.
Yeah, man.
Now, now the AD of Notre Dame is saying that their relationship with the ACC is permanently fractured. Um, sure, whatever. I mean, Clemson and
Why can
Florida.
they be a? Why can they can play in the ACC and any other sport but football?
Yeah,
I mean, that
yeah,
doesn't make that's just what a stupid excuse that is.
yeah. And I mean, Clemson and Florida State are already basically planning in 5 years to ditch. That's when the buyout, they arranged for that buyout of the TV deal to expire at the end of the 2030 season. So in the 2030 to 2031 offseason, Clemson and Florida State are likely leaving for the SEC. Notre Dame's going to have some soul searching to do at that time, man. I mean, I think that year when all the other conferences are going to be in flux. All the TV deals for all the other power conferences are going to expire actually in 2030. So that's when Clemson and Florida State are going to get in on the action again, likely to the SEC. I think that's when Notre Dame's really going to have to think long and hard about whether or not this NBC contract is worth it. And also, I think NBC's wasting their money. I looked it up. Notre Dame's biggest game this year, Eric, was the USC matchup. I believe it was
Wow.
mid-October. And the same
Yep.
weekend, guess what game had higher ratings?
Which one?
LSU Vanderbilt.
Oh man.
That weekend, LSU versus Vanderbilt had higher ratings than Notre Dame USC, and that was the week before the Texas A&M blowout that they gave LSU, which got Brian Kelly fired. So that was when LSU was in the middle of their spiral. And that game,
Right.
I know Pavia's box office for a lot of people, but no, not a lot of people are watching Vanderbilt football. They were watching for LSU. That game had higher ratings than Notre Dame USC, and that was Notre Dame's biggest game of the year. So I think NBC just wants to get in on college football, and they're just going to give money where to get what games they can, but they are wasting their money on this team. No one, okay, like the SEC and Big Ten, just people watch those schools more than Notre Dame at this point. There was a time when that's all Roman Catholics would watch. We're past that point. We're past it. So I don't want to hear a word from Notre Dame fans. I don't want to hear a word from the Notre Dame athletic director. I don't want to hear it. You guys join a conference, and then you can talk to me about, relevancy on the national stage. I think it's totally appropriate that Alabama and Miami got in over them, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sleep. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Notre Dame's biggest games of the year, they blew them. I understand that Texas A&M loss was close. It was 41-40. And they lost to Miami by 3, but their biggest win of the year is USC. I mean,
Yeah,
USC is
exactly,
not what they used to be by
exactly,
any means. And
exactly.
then they're just beating up on, like Boise State, who's not good anymore. They were good for a year. Pitt, Navy. I mean, their schedule's terrible. And you can't even say that, like, oh, it's because their conference is bad, like, like a Big 12 schedule. Because they
Yeah,
don't play in a conference. They make their own schedule. They can do whatever they want. So
exactly.
you can't even make that argument for, oh, their schedule or their conference is weak. No, they don't play in a conference. It's not a
Yeah.
real thing.
That's why
Um,
people are giving Texas Tech the benefit of the doubt. Texas Tech didn't play a lot of elite competition, but what could Texas Tech do? They're in the Big
nothing.
12.
But
Exactly.
yeah, they can't do anything. That's not their fault. This is Notre Dame's fault that they're not in.
Yeah,
Um, playing a conference. I mean, that's just the end of the discussion. And then I in Miami, their strength of schedule isn't that great because they played in the ACC. They play in the ACC, but I mean, also like we were saying, it's not their fault. They scheduled who they can. I mean, I understand they scheduled like what is it, Booth on Cookman Wildcats or whatever, um,
ridiculous.
week 2. But I mean, you're gonna have a little warm up game before you start ACC play, and you're scheduling Notre Dame, the first week, so that's a good win.
Yeah,
Um, but Notre Dame's schedule weak. Um, they are not good. I really like that they left them out.
I
How do you
agree.
feel about Notre Dame not opting out of the bowl game?
Oh, you mean opting out of it? They're cowards. They're spineless cowards. They're throwing a hissy fit on the national stage, and they expect people to pity them. We have no pity for you. None. I feel no. I'm losing nothing by not watching you play in the bowl game. I'm losing nothing. I'm losing zero entertainment. I'm losing zero joy.
It's honestly better, man. I mean, nobody wants to see this Notre Dame team play except Notre Dame fans. I don't even think I don't even think Notre Dame fans want to see this team play right now after they supposedly got snubbed from the playoffs, which they didn't.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Miami really deserves it either. I mean, they're not that good either. They're gonna get, probably killed. But
yeah,
still, I mean, they're a more deserving team than Notre Dame because Notre Dame can schedule whoever they want any week. Miami can't do that. So it's not their fault. Notre Dame did it to themselves, and I agree, man. They're cowards for not playing in a bowl game. It's ridiculous. I mean,
yeah,
like you said, they're expecting people to pity them. That's just an unreal thing
yeah,
because why should we when you're controlling your entire year?
yeah,
So I really like the decision to leave them out. I mean, I don't hate Notre Dame. I mean, I think they're a respectable program. They're fans or whatever, but and they're all over social media right now. You left us out. Why? But
yeah,
I mean, you guys suck this year. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no,
yeah, that's all I got on that.
I agree. I agree. I just looked it up because I didn't know the exact dates off the top of my head. NBC's TV deal with Notre Dame is currently set to run through 2029. And that is significant, Eric, because again, 2030 is when the buyout to get out of the ACC becomes only $75 million compared to like the 700 million that it was under the old TV deal. And when it becomes a $75 million buyout, Clemson and Florida State are expected to leave the conference. Um, And that's also, and again, they're going to have an easy way to do it because in 2030, that's when the current TV deals for the other power conferences expire. So the Big 12, SEC, and Big 10 are going to have to renegotiate their TV deals. And again, that's how Clemson and Florida State are going to move in. So the fact that Notre Dame is going to be without a TV deal, um, and people are going to be leaving the ACC, we have 4 more years of this pretentious Notre Dame garbage of, NBC basically being a glorified propaganda arm for them. But we're a couple years away from, I think people are going to have to really significantly question whether or not this team is going to have to move to a conference. I think we're getting to the point where if I'm a fan of Notre Dame, I think I'm campaigning for that. You
Yeah, I
know,
agree.
I
And
think we're at a point, man. We're at a
yeah,
point.
because I mean, if they're in a conference, and I mean, what I guess, wh- I don't know. It's hard to say what conference they would be in, but
Yeah.
um, but if they're in a conference, they're probably in the playoffs.
Yeah, they
Uh,
probably wouldn't join the ACC because again,
right, exactly,
the two big football schools will be out.
right.
Miami is up in the air, as is it was reported that when all this was going down with the TV deal that North Carolina is considering getting out too, which isn't a big deal with basketball, but for isn't a big deal for football, but for basketball that's huge to
Right.
lose North Carolina basketball. So, um, that the ACC is coming towards a very interesting, um, you know, infraction point in their history, but that's years down the line, guys. We're not gonna talk about that right now, but
Yeah.
I bring that up because again, I think Notre Dame in the next few years, you're gonna have to come to a decision, guys. Like you really cannot expect
Yeah,
people
you
to
can't you can't keep this up. I mean, you can't
you
you
can't.
can't expect the committee to pamper you every year and get
Yeah,
you in when
yeah,
you're not
you
even
can't.
worthy of a
You can't. I
spot.
completely agree.
But yeah, I mean that's all I got.
Same here. Same here.
All right.
Okay, guys. So, next week in terms of college football, there's only Army Navy. Um, we might talk about it if it's a great game. Sometimes it's fun. I mean, sometimes the news coverage of that game is good. Do you want to predict the first round now, or do you want to save that for next week?
Doesn't matter. We can do it right now.
Okay. So, c- let's just breeze through the first two. Oregon versus JMU. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, Oregon's gonna win. Their next, their actual true test is Texas Tech, with Dante
Yep.
Moore. He's been shaky.
Yeah.
But JMU's defense, I mean, I understand JMU's really good, for what they are.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be no problem. So
Yeah.
and then same with Ole Miss, even with Lane Kiffin gone, I don't see any lack of, at least in this first game, any lack of preparation or anything like that. Because Trinidad Chambliss is just too good.
Yeah. Yeah, and Pete Golding. I mean, he's been their DC all year. He's been
Right.
named the new permanent head coach. They like the guy. They know him. They're comfortable with him. He was
Yeah.
like the one big Kiffin assistant who didn't leave with Kiffin for LSU. So I think the team is especially loyal to Golding. For that reason, they will have no problem against Tulane. No problem at all. I agree with you
Yeah.
100%. So the two interesting games. Let's talk about them. We'll start with 7 versus 10. So Texas A&M versus Miami. That Texas loss was really bad for Texas A&M. Arch Manning was making a lot of plays against you, and you shouldn't have Arch Manning be making a lot of big plays against you.
Yeah.
That was the first time that they looked truly, truly vulnerable. I mean, I know they had that historic comeback against South Carolina, but still,
I mean, still, man, yeah.
yeah,
The,
that team is shaky, but Miami's even shakier. Carson Beck, I don't know if I'm watching Dan Marino one week or I mean, good, give me a shit Christian Hackenberg the next week. I mean, it's like you're getting one of the two, and I don't know what I'm getting. Um, Ooh, this is a hard one because I think both Texas A&M has looked very, very good, and I think they look more consistent than Miami. So because of that, I'm gonna pick A&M, but I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Miami won the game. But I'm gonna go with A&M here.
yeah. Yeah, like you said, Carson Beck, he's inconsistent. I mean, he looks good one week, looks terrible the next. But I mean, so is A&M's defense. You know, you look at A&M, they've given up a lot of points to some not so great teams. You know, Arkansas, they're okay, they're respectable. You know, Auburn scored, 10, but that South Carolina game really opened my eyes, and then the Texas game just not too long ago. So, um, now Miami just barely getting in, yes, but they've been hot. You know,
Yeah, they have.
they haven't lost in, over what, like a month now, like about a
Yeah,
month and a half. So, I don't mind it. Um, if it just depends if Carson Beck plays good, he's
yeah,
gonna pick that A&M defense apart. If he plays bad,
yep.
A&M's gonna win. So it's all depends on Carson Beck's performance.
I agree.
Not so much, Marcel Reed.
Yeah,
Marcel Reed's a great athlete. He can do enough,
yeah,
but I honestly think Miami wins just based off A&M's defense.
yeah.
And if Carson Beck plays good, that is.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with A&M, but I'm looking for I think there's a solid chance that a Miami upset there.
Yeah.
Small chance. And then a really I don't really know how to feel about this game. So you have number 8 Oklahoma versus number 9 Alabama. Um, to sum up both teams, I mean Alabama's had a rough month. Even
Yeah.
the games they've won, they've struggled to win. They're coming off the worst loss of their season. Um, but Oklahoma's offense has been a disaster for the last month. Ever since John Mateer came back from his injury, he has been a shell of his former self. At the same time, Oklahoma probably has the best defense in the top 12, which is expected because Brent Venables is an incredible defensive mind from his days at Clemson. So you basically have an Oklahoma team where you have a terrible offense and an outstanding defense, versus an Alabama team that is reeling. So I think Oklahoma can win if they score 20 points. And I think this Oklahoma team, again, while their offense has been shaky, I think it's good enough to score 20 points against this Alabama team. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma here, but I think there is a chance that Ty Simpson, gets his head on straight and blows out Oklahoma. That is possible. But I think Oklahoma's defense is too good to bet against, personally.
Yeah, you look, Ty Simpson's been shaky, he's looked terrible, honestly, this past month, even with
Yes.
that win, over LSU, he looked okay, Um, John Mateer, same exact thing, man. Like you said, ever since he's came back from that injury, not the same at all. He was coming up, Heisman talks,
Yep.
and now, it's just a disaster. The Red River rivalry game was horrible.
Yep.
23 points. They lose that game. Arch Manning drops, 23 on you. 23 is not a crazy score, but if it's Arch Manning, come on.
Yeah. And again,
That's
that
not
defense is
good.
holding Texas to 23 points. Like that defense is really good for Oklahoma. It comes down to their
Yeah.
offense. It really does.
Well, they let up 34 to Ole Miss and 27 to Tennessee, and then 21 to Bama.
Yeah.
Now 21 to Bama is not bad, but that's also when Ty Simpson started not, playing too great. That's
Yeah.
3 back-to-back weeks where it's just a little shaky on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, their offense looks so bad. I mean, John Mateer, like I said, come back from injury, he doesn't look the same. They've had some, but he's doing enough to win, but just barely. Both of these quarterbacks not impressive at the moment. I don't like really any of them. They're when Oklahoma played Michigan early in the year, that's an okay win. Michigan was ranked at the time. Um, that's an okay win. But Alabama, they haven't had really too many great wins. I understand Georgia, that's a good win. But
Yeah.
last time they played Oklahoma, they lost. Um,
Yeah.
and neither and Ty Simpson outplayed John Mateer, but it just came down to the mistakes and, like you said, the defense. So,
Yeah.
um, if John Mateer's been or if Ty Simpson's been playing anything like he has been recently, this game is going to be a maybe not a blowout, but
But Oklahoma will win.
Oklahoma will win. I think they win by like 17
Yeah.
if Ty Simpson plays bad. But if John Mateer it's just what quarterback plays worse in this one? Because it's going to look like neither of these teams are going to want to win. But their defense got to keep them in it. I mean, these are two mediocre quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Ryan Williams, I would love to see him step up and into a big role. He hasn't yet really this season at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really all I got. I think I think Oklahoma will win though, just because of their defense.
I think this is going to be like a 17-13.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think,
Yeah.
and I can see
I mean,
either
yeah,
team
the
winning
last
it.
time they played it was 23-21, and we
Yeah.
talk about teams beating multiple times.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I think they have it in them. Oklahoma won the last time, and I think they got it again.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma is my money's on them. Again, I don't think it's a slam dunk.
No.
But I think Oklahoma has the slight edge because of that defense. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, guys, that's our predictions for the first round. Again, we won't be doing that next week. But we wanted to get the predictions out to you as soon as we could. Looking ahead again, Army Navy. If it's an amazing game, sure, we'll talk about it. But we're gonna we're basically gonna be doing the NFL next week. And honestly, Eric, when you look at the schedule, the NFL games next week are actually pretty good, which is uncharacteristic this season. Um, the Ravens and Bengals, that's going to be a really funny game because, the Ravens right now, their fan base wants Harbaugh out. And Joe Burrow has been really, really solid since he came back from injury. So, um, maybe that'll be a good game. Bills Patriots, that's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I'm really excited. That's honestly probably the one I'm most excited about. Two powerhouse quarterbacks just going at it.
Yeah. Packers Broncos is not going to be a great game because the Broncos are literally the luckiest team on the planet. I think they've won like 5 or 6 games by 3 points or less.
Yeah, they're 11-2, but I mean, it's not pretty.
It's not a pretty 11-2. I suspect the Packers are going to freaking steamroll them, but I would love to be shocked and for Bo Nix to have one of the games of his career, but I suspect he will become Mo Picks against that Packers defense. That's just a prediction though. Lions Rams. I mean, are we still in on the Lions? That was a big win this past weekend, but I think the Lions are a little all over the place in terms of quality, especially on the road. So I don't know if they have a chance against LA. That game's not going to be bad. Colts Seahawks. I mean, look, if Rivers plays, that will be the first game we talk about. That's gonna be
That would be electric.
That'll be the first story, guys. So yeah, there's actually a number of interesting NFL games. So we're going to be largely doing an NFL show. But it should be a good week of football, Eric. It should be pretty good.
Yeah, unless the Pop-Tart Bowl becomes electric, we'll talk about it.
Unless that, yeah, you're right. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Catching the Facts podcast. But both Eric and I are really, really appreciative of your support. As always, we post new episodes of our show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both YouTube and Spotify. Please go follow us on both of those platforms, as well as liking, commenting, and subscribing to our show. Again, we really appreciate your support. And as we near the end of the football season, we hope you will watch the bowl season with us, as well as the NFL playoffs, which are coming up in the next month. We're only a month away from the playoffs, Eric. It's hard to believe the season's flown by. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah. Do you have anything else? Or are we good to go?
Just like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, guys. So thank you so much for again for your support. We will see you next week to talk largely NFL and then whatever crazy news pops up in the world of football. Until then, I'm your host, Dan Sisk.
I'm Eric Schroeder.
And we'll see you then.